There's a good look at that ISO squad. The BYU Cougars trying to make it a sweep for the first time since Colorado pulled that off back in, I believe it was 2014. And there's the race, and off they go. And we will let you just admire the sights and sounds of this view. First stretch, 800 meters, starts 90 meters wide and kind of angles down and pinches to about 20 meters by the time they have to make that turn.
Well, what I love, I heard yesterday, is that because our sport is growing, they had to widen this course, which is a really cool thing.
And now the fans, off they go. Yep. See, that's great. You got to chase to the next one.
You got to be fit to be a fan, too.
I mean, you could just walk up here by the finish, but if you're really a fan, you're not. You're getting a couple of different places where you can take a look at these guys.
There's a lot of nervous energy out there, even for the fans, and they got to burn it off somehow. We see the BYU men on the right of your screen. They're getting out well, and they're sort of known more, for, especially at Big 12s, for kind of running controlled and building over the second half of the race, but they're getting themselves out in the top 30 here.
Well, can we just give a big shout out to Casey Klinger right now? We know that his wife is watching back home, and they are going to be induced tomorrow.
I think it's a shout out for his wife. He's in Wisconsin.
Hello, and now Casey's got to run as fast as he can to get home.
You better make it worth it, Casey.
Jeez, what a story he's had. Listen, so BYU came in and ran third a year ago. And they have 6 of those 7 guys back, and the guy that's not is replaced by Casey Klingers. Like, that's, with all due respect, that's an upgrade, right? You bring that guy in, you're a better team.
Yeah, he's going for his 5th All-American. I think he would be the second guy to do that, we established, because he had that COVID year that didn't count. He's super experienced. He's never finished outside the top 40 at this race. An amazing athlete who we think will contend for the top 5 here. And, I mean, you go back to their number 2 guy, James Corrigan, ran at the Olympics in the steeplechase. He's pretty good as well.
What a year he had.
A couple of Arkansas Razorbacks there at the front as expected. Patrick Kiprop and Karami Yego. This is good for Yego. He can finally wear gloves and a hat and not look like, dude, why are you wearing gloves and a hat? It's 56 degrees out. And he comes through. And Oklahoma State, all orange this time, not orange over black, so they'll be easy to pick out. And then look at those gold jerseys over the maroon of Iowa State, and you see the flag in the background. They always, Coach has them ready to run all the time at this meet.
Yeah, he was not happy with how things went at Big 12.
Nope.
Yeah, he was not happy about that. But sometimes I think getting a little bit of a fire lit under your, it really kind of helps at the end of the season, and it gets people a little bit back in the zone. And so not surprised, but Parker Wolf up there, that is the guy that a lot of question marks are around. We know that he can run, and he's been injured this year and had an up and down season. He's right there in the middle of the pack.
Right, and his question marks probably show deeper into this race where you missed training and not early on.
And Graham Blank's all the way back in 30th. He's not too far back seconds-wise. We've talked about it's so dense here.
But you can see him there.
Yeah, so he's moved up even from the K-split. But with Parker Wolf, one thing we should mention, we have defending champs in the 5K, the 10K, and cross-country, all different people, which is rare to get all of them as different people, all of them coming back. And, I mean, throw James Corrigan in the steeplechase.
Yeah.
Guys to look for with Oklahoma State, who's been number 1 all year, kind of the favorite, even though they lost at their conference meet. Brian Masau, he's in the top 10 at the moment. Yvonne Kipkemboy, he's a freshman that wasn't here on that championship team a year ago. Fuad Masadi, needs something good from him. They sat him out at regionals. Dennis Kipengedich, who came across the K at 57, so he's just in the pack. He'll find himself up towards the front here as this race rolls on.
And Musau and Kipkemboy, 2 interesting guys to talk about in the context of Dave Smith wanting patience. Kipkemboy was the one who really went out. He tried to win the race at Big 12, finished 19th. Dave was saying, hey, I want you to go conservative, maybe out in like the 50s. And then Kipkemboy interpreted that as like conservative as, maybe 25th, 20th. He's out in 25th here. Musau, when he's won races, he's made big moves at like, call it 2/3 of the way through. And he's kind of got instructions, I think, to wait for the last 2K here. So we'll see if he can run the way that he's comfortable with, trying to build that gap, or if he's going to be patient and make sure that he at least gets some low points for the team.
And BYU early on as they approach 2K, they have guys in great spots with Klinger went through the K in 9th. Lucas Bonds, James Corrigan running right together. Creed Thompson is right there with him as well. Pack them up, carry, like say all the time, know where your teammates are in this race.
Yeah.
And sort of wild stat from the first K. This could just be the noise of that start, but Victor Shitsama, who's another one of our 4-time All-Americans, 12th here last year for Oklahoma State, back in 185th place. And he's their 5. So Dave Smith wanted to be conservative. They're being conservative.
It is not easy, though, to get around all these athletes. I mean, getting out on the line is a big thing, and you can see. I mean, it takes time to navigate back through.
I mean, this is a wide course, but I do think I saw two of America's brightest orange back pretty far back in this pack, sort of trapped on the rail there.
Still takes time.
Good view as they go by. Arkansas sitting up there 1 and 3 with Patrick Kiprop, Paramiego. And that's Kiprop, who's kind of improved every year, was 7th here last year. Had a chance in the 10,000, looked good outdoor. Then he had gotten a tumble with Haptum Samuel. Samuel was able to get up and go, and Patrick kind of literally scraped up and bleeding, got in there in 7th, I think, was still an All-American when he got through. But he's a guy that he can't run a 3:59 mile, right? So he has to go here early and press. That's his race strategy.
Absolutely, and this is sort of surprising on the team side. I think we expected BYU to be the team that is more patient, builds over the course of the race. Oklahoma State is the one that's way back and looking to move up. I think with at least their 4-5 or maybe their 5-6, because we have 2 guys up in the top 10 here with Kippen Gedich and Masao.
But look at this pack right now. I mean, it's huge. Everybody's still in it. We're only 2K in. I do think that it's cold. It's good cross country weather, but I think that the athletes, we saw it on the women's side, they really kind of warmed up as the race went on.
And I think you see some of that a little bit with some of our Kenyan athletes, who often can be some of the most aggressive guys at the front. I ran World Cross Country in 2013 in Big Dosh, Poland. Had no problem getting out in the top 10. U.S. beat Kenya that year. Ran a few years later, it was about 60 degrees. I don't think I could have got to the front if I was only running 2K. So definitely being a little patient here.
Yep.
Great look at that view. This is, the people on the left standing, spectators, people on the right running, those are the participants. There's just no other scene like that. You go to the track finals, we'll put 12 on there, and that can get crowded.
And our leader right now is Evans Karuri of Washington State. He was actually in the open race, second in the open race at Prenats. At the West Regional, he just took it from the gun and won by 10, 20 seconds. So he's an aggressive runner. He might be the guy that puts some pace in. And then we have Quemoy from Iowa State. He was on the left of your screen there. He's just been in the top 5 every race all year.
Well, Evans Karuri won his region by 14 seconds. I mean, he is an aggressive style runner, and that's what he likes to do.
And just kind of a Washington State history note, if you go back and look, the great Henry Rono, who ran for them, won a national championship cross country, won the next year, didn't win his 3rd year, then won as a senior. The year he didn't win was here in Madison in '78 when it was cold. He and Alberto Salazar took kind of a wrong turn. He slipped on the snow and literally jogged home in 220-something. So he was first, 200 first. Because sometimes that weather is like, you know what, this is not my day, and I'm going to let the weather win, and I'll arm wrestle with it on another day.
Well, this is what I was talking about early on. Like, this is hard for the OSU guys. A lot of them have the opportunity to potentially compete for that win. And I do think that when I was running at Villanova, like, that was something we had to have a discussion with our coaches. Like, you are going for the win individually, but you also have to think about that team. So I don't know. Do you think that's playing a big factor today?
Well, I think that what Dave told us is like, hey, you can go for the win, but go for the win at 8K. Yeah. Don't go for it at 4K. And I think that's a fair compliment.
How do I feel about 8:35 through 3K?
I think it's relatively calm. I mean, for these guys, back when I was running, that'd be pretty fast. But with these young bucks these days, I think that's pretty sedate. I think we're going to see a big last half here. Karuri has injected some pace. I'm not sure he has. I'm not sure he has the goods to put the hurt to everyone else, but he's going to give it his best shot.
Worth watching. So BYU right now, as they went through 3K, 6, 9, 10, 20, 21. So that's a pretty salty group right there at 66 points. Arkansas, we've seen Paramiego. We have seen Patrick Kiprop. Also in there running right now, their 3rd man is Yassine Abdallah, who ran at Texas. He ran at Tennessee. Now, 1 year he's at Arkansas. That guy came and ran the Olympic marathon in 2:11. He came 33rd in his first marathon. So, like, they think they got that all out of his legs, but certainly a unique career from that fella.
What a tough cookie.
Well, he's running this like a marathoner. He was 70th at a K, and he's 19th at 3K. So he's working his way up through the pack. Well, I say he's running like a marathoner. He's also anchored the NCAA winning DMR. So for me, the most interesting man in the NCAA. This guy can do it all. My other fun fact about Yassine, 33rd at the Olympics, that is his best finish in this race. So this race, pretty much as good as the Olympics. That's my takeaway.
Well, and actually, Graham Blank said that yesterday. We heard a lot of talk about how great this field is, and much like he said, it's much like what he was running at the Olympics, at least the first round.
So,
talent is so good.
Was looking in there, and I saw for Texas Tech, Ernest Chariot, one of their fine runners, getting word right now, DNS from Solomon Kipchoge, which is why you do not see him up in front of the pack where we certainly thought we would see him. And I'm also looking to find out where Haptu Samuel is, who fell in his region after about 200 yards. We got up and kept running. Now, across 3K, they have him at 18th, and Graham Blank's at 16th. So he's there. He's got an eye on him. Rocky Hansen is there from Wake Forest. Curious to see the sophomore who didn't run as a freshman here, held out of regionals as Wake Forest really kind of gambled and got in as the 5th team out of their region, and see what the boys from Winston-Salem have for everybody here over the last 6,000 meters as we come up on the 4K mark.
And for Oklahoma State, it's sort of a tale of two teams right now. They have 3 guys in the top 10. Then they've got Fayoud Masayudi is probably about 50th, and then they have 3 guys over 150th at 3K. So I don't know if this is genius level tactics from Dave Smith, where they're going to move up a ton in the last half, or if we're just not seeing a great day from them. I mean, the one thing we should say, different than the women's race, this is 10K. You can move up a ton. If you're in 100th place at 5K and you run an even split, you'll be All-American.
Good look at 5:45. That's Casey Klinger. Last time that a BYU runner won this event was obviously Connor Mance, and that flows to Graham Blanks as well. He's also the last guy to win this in consecutive years, and then, of course, he's had a wonderful pro career, represented the U.S. in the Olympic marathon as well.
Kind of wild to see Lucas Bonds of BYU up here in the top 10. I mean, he's a solid guy. I think we'd expect him to be All-American, but the BYU team, perhaps because this is a bit of a slower pace, they're running aggressively at the front, and it's maybe going to be easier to defend that place because this isn't such a fast race than it is to move up.
So they come through 4K with 47 points. I thought, well, 49 is ridiculous last year by Oklahoma State. Nobody's going to run that again anytime soon. But right now, BYU running fantastic. There's a good look at Haptu Samuel, who was a runner-up last year and now has found himself worked his way to the front of the pack. After that 4K, Oklahoma State moved up a bunch, now to 169. But as you mentioned, that troubling 5th runner, 1:7:14:35, 1:12, and so they're going to have a big effort out of that 5th spot if they're going to defend that crowd. And then there's Iowa State, because they're Iowa State, and this is always sort of a good day for them.
Well, I mean, you touched on it a little bit, but Haptu Samuel in the middle there in the blue from New Mexico, he fell hard at regionals, as you said, but he also hurt his hip and his shoulder. It took him a little time to work out of that. So not surprising to see him be a little bit less aggressive, maybe just seeing how his body is handling this a week later. I mean, he was really he didn't really want to finish that race, but his coach said, get back in there and get going. Get into your zone again.
Yeah, we're really racing to the front now, so I think we're going to really sort ourselves out here in the next 10 seconds, or in the next, K or so.
Now we go look outside there. Kiprop was there again. It was just behind him. That was Kip and Gettich was just behind him. So I don't know that it was an OSU runner that went down. And looking as there was so many arms and legs, kind of hard to see who it was that took that fall through 5K and 14:30. Again, that was a little quicker than the first half of the women's race, but not one that's certainly going to burn too many people out of there. Look at Ben Shear as he comes through. Oklahoma State, for Arkansas, right now through the halfway point. BYU falling back some to 86 points. Arkansas 123, and Oklahoma State, slowly but surely, trimming a few points off.
And really from Oklahoma State, I mean, they've got 3 guys in the top 20. They're not really changing the point score that much. This is all Victor Shitsama, their 5th runner. He's now up to 96th in the scoring. BYU, their 5th runner's 31st. So Victor, can you get there? Can you get to the top 40? And it sounds crazy, but again, if you run even splits and you're in the top 100 at halfway, you're going to be All-American.
Come on, Yassine! Come on,
And that's Yassine Abdallah there with the I don't know, the black and white cookie hair. I don't know what you want to call it.
The guy has made some horrible hair choices over the years.
Hey, we could see him, and now he's up in front. I like it.
We called him the most interesting man in the NCAA, and he is backing it up.
Come on, Simeon!
Casey Klinger right up there in front, too, pushing, looking smooth. I mean, this man has done so well at this level. You know he wants to be in that top 5, and he definitely is running that way today.
I was going to say maybe his dad's strength's going to come in a little early, but honestly, all the BYU guys, they train up at altitude. They were born with dad strength.
Well, I asked Graham Blank what gets him going. What's his his song of choice, and he said lately it's Slide Away by the Oasis. I had to go back and check some of those lyrics. I could see why he gets fired up listening to that.
Well, his Instagram handle says that he voted for Pedro and he loves Oasis. Was he born in 1985? Is he actually 40 years old?
He likes those, what are they called? Smoothies? Frosty? What are they called?
Ices?
Ices?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of an old soul, but he's gritty as a heck.
So BYU.
So I think this lead pack is thinning down now to 10 to 15 guys. We just saw Gary Martin just falling off the back of that. He was the ACC champ from Virginia.
You'll hear a bunch of that guy in the next couple of years. What a good recruit he was for Vinlanana down there, and UVA running for the Hoos. Right now, Aiden Troutner, the 5th guy for BYU, and here's a guy. BYU has come in with a ton of experience. A lot of guys have run this race 2, 3, and 4 times, but Troutner's never been in the top 100. So what a good improvement that would be for him. And
this is a guy that's run 7:44 for 3K on the track, and for a guy like me who ran 15 years ago here, that was a huge holy crap moment for me. I was like, oh, what place did he finish the NCAAs that year? Didn't qualify.
So here are the 5th place runners who can do so much. Shitsama still pushing up. Timothy Chesnut, and that's a transfer that Arkansas got from Akron, and kind of need him to roll up there. Their top 3 are really strong. Ben Shear's running well, and then some of their 6th or 7th guys have kind of fallen off the back end. Ruben Reyna has not yet joined the fight in this thing. He's all the way back in 113th.
And Chesedin, the Akron transfer, who's their 5th, he's, unfortunately for them, going backwards. He's lost about 30 places over the last 2K, so that's something that they got to reverse that flow if they want to win this race.
Well, Chesedin has had a tough year. I mean, he's had some injuries right before SECs. He was just barely getting to run again. So he's trying to finish this out, but 10K is a lot further than 8K, and he did well at SECs. But we'll see how he can cover 10K. So
Graham Blank said yesterday, he told us, really, this thing's decided at least at the front in those last 10 minutes. So that's where we are right now. So Graham is in and has alerted everybody that there's 10 minutes left. The race has started.
But I like how Parker Wolf looks right now. I mean, he's attacking the hard parts of this course. He said he was gritty, he's ready for it, and he said he's healthy. I mean, a lot of people were wondering, is he healthy? He told us yesterday, yes, I'm healthy.
There he is in the middle. He got familiar Carolina blue, and 667 is. There's Amiego, who's falling back a little bit out of that lead pack.
And we saw Aiden Troutner go and Lucas Bonds go through there for BYU. They're both still hanging on in the top 30, 35.
There's a Stanford Cardinal.
Go Card, that's Cole Sprout. Colorado great. And now Casey Klinger in the white over blue of BYU at the front. Parker Wolf on his shoulder. And then we've got Graham Blanks with the understated H of Harvard. They have a distinguished tradition.
Check out. Hampton Samuel has one shoe on, everybody. He has one shoe on. I just noticed that. So that must have been why he was so, fired up.
Yeah.
Oh, no, my pick.
Well, this guy just, for whatever reason, he finds drama around him.
He does. You know what? The thing is the course isn't that hard right now. When we ran it yesterday, it didn't get below freezing last night. But it's cold, and that foot is going to get cold. And extremities are a big thing when you're racing.
Well, and more than that, he's got different height on his shoes, right? So his whole stride is going to be thrown off because he's got one shoe on, one shoe off. And
the shoes have a lot more height than they did back in the day. So yeah, it will definitely be different. But all the big factors right here in the race.
Yeah. So to pick out Hopton for you, he's on the right side of the field here. He's in that teal, just behind the bright orange of Brian Massow, and I believe it's his left shoe that's off.
Take a look at the 7K scoring. BYU still, now they're not down to that 46. They've doubled it up, but they're still comfortably ahead. Arkansas and Iowa State are tied as Chesanin continues to, as you pointed out, Chris, he's kind of going backwards in that spot. Guys they thought behind him that might be able to pick that spot up. Ruben Reyna has not run well. And behind him, Timothy Masai, also 161st right now. So those two guys are not going to factor in. If the Hogs are going to end up on the podium, it's going to be that 5 spot. Iowa State, there you go, strong and steady, even after having one of their guys fall.
Casey Klinger taking that downhill hard. He's trying to open this up just a little bit.
Yep, and Arkansas looks like, I don't think anybody thought if Arkansas was going to be in this fight, Yassine Abdallah would be their number 1 guy. He was comfortably 3. So Patrick Kiprop and Karami Yego have dropped back farther than we thought. Is that my bad Bob right there? What about Bob? Is that Bob Liking?
Well, he knows this
Big
course
Ten
better
Bob?
than anyone.
Big Ten Bob, 4 times the champ of that conference.
And so I think we're seeing, is this BYU's 4-5 here? Again, that's Troutner and I think Lucas Bonds.
Klinger has gone to the front.
And that's Shearer from Arkansas. He's their 4 that we saw come through the screen.
Yep. He's been a little he's had some injury, a little illness, but just outside the top 40 All-American a year ago.
And our crack research staff told me that Shitsama went from 120th to 14th last year. So who am I to doubt the strategy of the 4-time All-American?
Yeah, he's going to have to do it over the last 2K now, because this is where things really get hard for these guys.
Yep. So you can see at the back of that pack, you can in the teal, that's Hoptum Samuel. He's starting to fall off there, which you can't blame him. He's only running with 1 shoe on a 35-degree day. But I think I'm personally quite surprised to see Casey Klinger, that he's the one pushing the pace here and really thinning out this pack. We're getting down. I think we're going to be down to 5 or 6 remaining very, very shortly.
7 guys within a second each other. There's Patrick Kiprop.
And if there was going to be another BYU guy in the top 10, I think we all would have thought it would be James Corrigan, but it's actually Creed Thompson who's in 9th right now.
Corrigan, a fabulous story from a year ago where he finished up and ran a great prelim in the steeplechase at the NCAA, then fell off and was not great in the final, finished like 9th or something. Then he went back and he was 3rd in the Olympic trials, and a week later went and found the standard, and just what an unbelievable story he was.
And he's actually their 7 right now. So we talked to Ed Eyestone yesterday. He said, if we're going to really go for it, I got to have Corrigan up there chasing Casey Klinger. He might underestimate his own team.
Well, Creed Thompson ran great this winter this last summer, at the Olympic trials too. He ran the 10,000 meters there. These guys are very strong. Ed Eyestone said that. He said they know how to run an altitude, they know how to run the grass. Look at this, breaking up big time.
And this is Brian Massow, I think, who's pushing the pace. We just lost him off the screen there. He's to the right. He's in the America's brightest orange, as John likes to say. This is a guy he likes to front run. I think Dave Smith asked him to wait a little later, but he's going. He has the green light with 2K to go. We're coming up. We're on the lowest point of the course. We're going to come up the steep hill, little false flat, and then down to the finish. So right now, it's Graham Blanks and Brian Massow breaking away from this pack. I think that Massow kind of made a move and then didn't follow through on it. We saw him pull way out there, and Blanks now is kind of stuck in the lead, and he's got to decide, do I want to follow through on this, or do I want to wait for the finish?
Well, we kind of know that Graham Blanks likes to push a little bit harder out. I was wondering when he was going to make that move, but now you can see that intensity's there. He's going for it.
Yeah, he's not yawning anymore. He's fully engaged in the contest that's going on. As far as the team goes, through 8K, BYU, if you can be comfortable in a spot, they look to be comfortably ahead. Iowa State is in 2nd, and Arkansas with Yego, and there's Patrick Kiprop not having their best day, and that's starting to show as they drop down a little and now sit 3rd with Wake Forest and Oklahoma State within striking distance of those squads.
And Blanks this is the decisive move here. Can Samuel get on this, use this little downhill that's coming up to catch back up to him? But if he doesn't, Graham Blanks, Olympian, defending champion, you can't let him get 15 meters here.
Hoptum Samuel says that too. That was his MO, was to go with 2K to go. He might not have had the drive that he needs with that shoe that's off, but look at Graham Blanks here. He knows this feeling. He knows what it's like to win, and he's running that way right now.
And I think what happened is Massow he covered it. Massow pulled off. Graham Blanks looked around and said, no one else feels good. I'm putting him to the sword.
So And it was at 1,000 meters last year is when he went. And then Samuel again right behind him.
Absolutely incredible run here from Samuel. I mean, we know he's a sub-27 guy, but he's had one shoe for half this race.
Yeah, that guy overcomes some stuff every time he comes through.
And then we got a pack behind Samuel. It's Masau from Oklahoma State, Schubert from Furman, who we haven't really discussed at all. I think Parker Wolf is just trying to hang on to that with Casey Klinger. And Yassine Abdallah running out of his, well, I would say out of his mind. He's an Olympian.
Yeah.
Playing out of his haircut. Dylan Schubert, good run from the Furman Purple Paladin there to shake things up. Wisconsin having a nice run.
Blanks just looks so strong. And I got to say, if that is what happened, it's one of the best feelings in running when you hit the front and all of a sudden you realize no one else can cover it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what he realized. He ran really smart to note that no one had it. Now's the time to go.
Look at that little dip of the chin. He's still working through those rolling little hills that hurt so bad at the end of the 10K. But look, you can see that grit now. He is ready to go. He's ready to make that final turn and feel that elation of hearing the crowd scream your name again.
And I think we saw a little head nod to the fans there. And I think great run for Parker Wolf in sort of an injury-heavy season to still be in the top 10 here.
He's coming up that last 300 rise. The crowd lining this entire last 300. So they will have a lot of people to bring him home. There's Bob, Patrick Kiprop behind him. BYU is going to have a long, hard last K because Iowa State is right there, and Arkansas is going to have a hard time trying to hang on. Oklahoma State, I think at this point, is going to be done. Right now they're 6th, so they will not defend. But this man, who's got about 100 meters left, is going to. You know, Harvard, I know he said last year he ran like a dummy. He's wicked smart, okay? So let's not forget that. Looks behind him. Sure, they plugged in an icy machine and blew out all the power in their building. So listen, at some point we're college-age guys. We don't do the smartest things. But in terms of running, Graham Blanks, you can outrun people, you can outlast people, you can outsmart them. And I think in this case, for the second straight year, he's done all three. What a way to close out. And Samuel, What a gutsy run for him. Dylan Schubert, remarkable. Yassine Abdallah across 4th. For a guy that got sick last year and was 187. What a showing for him. Masau, who he felt froggy, and Blanks was happy to jump.
And now Casey Klinger just going to run straight to the airport and get home.
Klinger's got it. Yeah, we've got
an awesome one.
Listen, he labored today. Mom labors tomorrow.
Finished his best finish here at the NCAA cross country.
Well, now we start to add them up as we come through. By the way, Virginia Tech back here for the first time in a long time. Great showing by them. There's Yago coming through ahead of Patrick Kiprop. Kiprop just not his best today when he came through. 4th, 19th.
Iowa State and BYU's 3 in together. Iowa State's, I think that's their 4. That actually could be their 3.
Iowa State came in really low last year. And
here comes BYU's 4. Where is their 5? They were going backwards a little bit here in the last couple of
Iowa State is there. It's close right now. All 5 are in on both sides. BYU, Iowa State.
Oh, my goodness.
Wisconsin, the home team. See what they do. They've got their 5 guys in. What will Arkansas's 5th do? Where's Oklahoma State's 5th? Or 4th? NAU for Dave Smith is in. They've got 5 in Wake Forest.
Great run for the young Wake Forest squad. Team full of freshmen and sophomores. Bright future for them.
Podium shakeout in Arkansas. Chesedin in 5th is really fun. He comes in 111th, but that might just sneak them into 3rd, which is where they've been all along. And Oklahoma State, so good all year. They cracked a little bit at conference and just couldn't gather it up and bring it again here today. I think that's a really shocking performance. What would it be if Wisconsin ends up on the podium in 4th? What a great showing for the Badgers in front of the home crowd.
And Wisconsin dropped 15 points in the last K, so they were charging hard at the end, possibly to a podium finish.
Badgers came in ranked 7th. Looks like BYU, I think we have a sweep. In 2004, Colorado was the last team to pull that off. And it'd be easy to go like, listen, the women won and they were inspired. I'm sure they were done, but that's a team that's so good on its own, right? They didn't need any extra effort. They were really good. There's Ruben Reyna for Arkansas, along with a couple of the Furman guys. Harvard's coming in now. 1, 2, 3. Is that 3 Harvard guys in a row? Good pack running by them.
Well, Coach Eystone at BYU said they are flying high on their campus. I mean, they have 4 Olympians on the distance squad, amongst others there. And so, with Clayton and Connor and Kenneth Brooks and a guy that was in the race here today, James Corrigan. I mean, they are all so excited to run well. And after their women won, wow, what a day for BYU.
So solid teams over the last K. Wisconsin pounded it. Northern Arizona pounded it. North Carolina hung in there good. Wake Forest went backwards. Oklahoma State went backwards. New Mexico. Those are teams that were all, at some point, kind of top 5 group all through the year. And come here to Madison, quite pull it out. But BYU by 13. Again, Iowa State. These guys, man, don't mess with them the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Don't pick a fight with those guys.
I think it's going to be a heartbreaker for Iowa State because their top guy, Robin Barrett, he finished 37th as their 4th guy.
I think he might have been the one that went down. I want to double check on that, but it looked like it was an Iowa State guy that went down. I think it was him.
And so that's going to be a big what if for them. Their 2 through 4 ran out of their minds, all American.
Top 40 get you All-American status. Top 40. And, I mean, look how tight that was. 2. Back here, take us through again the 10,000 meters of the 2024 NCAA Championship, the men's squad. Chris Derrick, what do you see? What do you like?
Sort of a controlled start here, and now we've got the Casey Klinger, Yassin Abdallah, 2 guys we didn't expect to see leading the race. Brian Massow is the guy who eventually, I think, makes the move that breaks it open. BYU, uncharacteristically out hard and sort of faded, but held on for the win. And of course, incredibly gutty run from second place, Hoptum Samuel. You see him there, just 1 shoe. Normally you need 2.
Yep.
And then this is the decisive moment. Massow goes. Graham follows him, looks around. Nobody else is coming. I'm going all the way to the finish.
He sheds Brian Massow and then waves it in. The man who was an Olympian this summer. I love Dylan Schubert's response. You can tell, right? Like sometimes I don't want to say run over your head, but you run more than what you think you could do.
I mean, if you look at the reaction of Schubert and Abdallah in 3rd and 4th as they finish, they're both give us a little bit like, can you believe that?
Oh,
can you believe what I just did? So you always see it every year you come in, you think you prepared for this race, you know how it's going to go, who are the contenders, and someone runs out of their mind.
There you take a look at the top 10. Graham Blanks, number 1. Samuel, number 2. These are this year's results, right? Because they could be last year's result in terms of 1 and 2. And as we bring in Graham Blanks, I want to make note of the time. 28:37.2 was his winning time. Last year, 28:37.7.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's good to have a year of training and lop a half a second off your time as you come through. And as we all know in cross country, those times mean nothing and are not comparable in any way, shape, or form. And there's the champ, Graham Blanks. Tell me why this one was so much better than last year's.
I mean, first of all, I love this course. I mean, nothing against UVA. Both amazing courses, but, to do it out here, a place I've already run 4 times, and a lot of greats have come out here and run it. It was amazing to be able to do that. And to be able to repeat, I can tell you myself, it's really difficult. The competition today is, just running in that pack, like, you're just in awe at the talent of these people, and it's only going to get better the next few years. So I'm glad I could pull out a win before it gets too difficult to do so. And I can't wait to watch these meets for years to come.
Graham, timing in your season this year was so perfect. Your race today, the timing was perfect. Talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, now that this is my last cross-country race, I guess I've got nothing to hide. Normally before these big races, I map the course out on my phone. Like, I look at some spots where I think I can make a move, whatnot. Thankfully, I've been to this course 4 times, so I know the parts that are hard. I know the parts that are easy, and I knew that part back there, about a K to go up that hill, is really hard. And if you can muster up enough courage and strength to just muscle your way up that hill, get a little gap, and then just run for your life. I figured I might be able to pull something off, so that's what I did today. It hurt like crazy. Not a fun way to win a race, but it gets the job done.
Yep.
Were you planning to go there, or did it just sort of happen given that you and Brian got that gap there?
It was kind of my plan A. It really does depend who you're with and who you think is doing well or not. When I ended up there with Brian alone, I was like, like about maybe a few minutes before that hill came up, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing today, because I know Brian wasn't going to make it easy on me, so I had to, put it down quick. So, once we were, Brian and I were off the front, I was like, I got to do that, make that move up the top of that hill.
There was some jostling going on. There was a fall. Did you notice any of that? I mean, there was some talking going on, and you seemed to just move away and get out of that.
Yeah, just staying out the way.
Yep.
That's what my teammate says, stay out the way. So, that's just part of cross country and just trying to keep a cool head. Understandably so, it's difficult to do so. So, yeah.
So real quick, I know, Harvard, you got a good class load. I know how much you study your history, and maybe you need more time to digest this. But I'm looking at Connor Mance, Ches, Simon Bayrou, Henry Rono, Steve Prefontaine, guys that went back to back. Like, that's a hell of a list that you just joined.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's really cool. It's something difficult to achieve, like I said. So I have a lot of respect for those people that have done it before, because I've had to go through that too. I understand how difficult it is. So, definitely a big confidence booster for me. But, I really hope to just continue on for my, collegiate career in the years to come. Like, I hope that I'm way better than this today. So, this is just hopefully one step in the road, but one that I'm taking time to look around and appreciate.
That's good. The beauty is, right, it's like 30 degrees. You can get indoor, and we'll see you running indoor, right? We'll go rip off some quick, fast thing in Boston. I'm sure you get to go back home. Congratulations. Listen, that's 2 in a row, and I'm not so sure that the second one's more than twice as hard to win again. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Graham Blanks, 23 and 24.